Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you. Tonight will be January 19th. It's already after midnight. Good God. But tonight will be January 19th edition of Monday Night Raw, entitled Raw Reunion. This was first being put together a few weeks ago, where WWE, put out news that this was going to be an NWO reunion with Hollywood Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash. And then came word that Shawn Michaels would be joining the party. This is when I first came to the thought that basically this was going to be Kevin Nash's Hall of Fame announcement. And a lot of times they play a video and they hype up the fact that he's going to be added into the Hall of Fame, but you don't really get to see any interaction with them. I can remember a few years ago, Shawn Michaels coming down to the ring and being interrupted by Alberto Del Rio, and that turned out to be a whole ordeal on Monday Night Raw. But I think it would be pretty cool if somebody just happened to be on Monday Night Raw, and at the same time their Hall of Fame announcement played, and then you got to see them sort of greeted by their friends. And I really thought this was what it was going to be. And then you can see that in the last few weeks, we've seen, Ric Flair get added. And in the last, day, we've seen Billy Gunn. We've seen X-Pac. You know what? That's one thing they could do. They could do... I don't understand where Ric Flair fits in. And Ron Simmons and a few of the other guys that have been named along the way. But they could finally do, for the first time, a DX versus NWO standoff. I don't know if this is like taking place of the old school Raw, which they normally do in the beginning part of the year. They haven't done it yet. I don't know if they're getting rid of that. Maybe they didn't. WWE for the last year has been all about cutbacks. Maybe they didn't want to ship out the old sets or call up Mean Gene Okerlund or for some reason or something like that. The old school Raw has always been a real highlight to me. I remember that old school Raw, the very first one they did, is still a very special one to me. It's on the Survivor Series 2010 Blu-ray. I crank out that Blu-ray and I watch that thing once a year. I'm probably, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty sure it's already been added on the WWE Network, and it's a lot easier to watch it on there with the click of a button. But I know on the old school Raw, they sort of stripped things back. Even on the Raw 1000, Triple H, when he came out there as a part of DX, he really wasn't the CEO of the company anymore. Even though it started to turn into a sort of like a gimmick. They brought out the New Age Outlaws, and then the Outlaws got beat up by Brock Lesnar, which built into the whole Triple H versus Brock Lesnar feud. But maybe they actually could do Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and then you get X-Pac out there, and they do a standoff against Scott Hall, Hulk Hogan, and Kevin Nash out there. But I don't really know what you do with Ric Flair at this time. If he's just going to be out there doing what they've done with Roddy Piper in the past, is just having him have a promo segment inside of the ring. Him being on Monday Night Raw is a big deal, seeing how he was just fresh off of appearing on ESPN today, doing a segment about the Indianapolis Colts when they won their game last week. Heading in and I guess punching their ticket to go to the AFC Championship game, which didn't turn out all that well. The player in the locker room, did the two claps and a Ric Flair, I think is what it was. But I don't know. It's going to be a fun one. I think that the Kevin Nash thing is probably going to be pushed back to another week. It would be really awesome to do the whole deal when he's there, but I don't know. With it being Hulk Hogan, with it being Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels, I think everyone can remember back to the Night of Champions hype on Monday Night Raw when they had all three legends in the ring for a segment, and basically everything that Hulk Hogan said, basically Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels very sarcastically went against, making very bad television. Everybody knows that these three guys have big egos, and they don't really mix 100% well together. You can think about the SummerSlam Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan match. where basically plans got thrown out the window by Hulk Hogan's creative control. Shawn Michaels went out there and worked the match, but basically very sarcastically oversold everything that Hogan did to him. It makes it a very funny match to watch. It doesn't make for a very good match to watch, but I guarantee you watch it, you will laugh, especially seeing Shawn Michaels sell for the big boot and just crazy stuff that's shenanigans along the way. But you got big names showing up. I know this is for the Royal Rumble. I doubt any of these guys will be in the Royal Rumble. So it's going to be a little bit weird how they piece this all together. But tomorrow's the Raw Reunion, and it's going to be a big one. Anytime you have Hollywood Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall out there, you know I'll be throwing up the Click Too Sweet, and I'll be ready to rumble.